Carlsbad, People, Purpose, and Impact, an essential podcast for those who live, work, visit, and play in Carlsbad.
Good morning and welcome, everyone. My name is Brett Schanzenbach. I'm the president and CEO of the Carlsbad Chamber of Commerce, and I'm your host this morning. And I'm super excited to have with me Mr. Carlton Lund. Carlton is the co-founder of the Lund Team real estate firm, and he is also Mr. Carlsbad. Carlton, thanks for joining me this morning.
So great to be here.
Good to have you. So, as you know, the Chamber is celebrating its 100th anniversary as an organization, and this is actually our 100th episode of our podcast. So
how fabulous is
yeah,
that?
You are significant in so many ways today. But I want to start with you and your background a little bit, because we're going to dive into some of the amazing things that you've been a part of and that you've seen the Chamber be a part of, and et cetera. But first, let's talk about the Lund team. You've been a broker since 1980.
That's correct. Yeah,
that's quite a history of real estate. Let's just say you've seen some ups and downs, I suppose.
Seen the whole gamut.
Yeah, I bet. Not too much happens in the market that you haven't already experienced.
That would be correct. Yeah.
And you guys started the Lund team, it looks like, you and Sandy,
yep,
your lovely bride,
yes,
in 1982?
That's correct. And
started right here in Bressy Ranch area, or in Carlsbad at least.
Carlsbad, yep.
Moved into your current offices, when was that?
2007.
2007, okay,
yeah.
Got it. And beautiful offices there in the Bressy Ranch area. And so tell us a little bit about real estate and what you love about that business.
Well, real estate is something that I have always loved. I came here in 1973. I bought my first house on Carlsbad Boulevard.
Nice.
It's gone up a little since then. It was $47,500.
Oh, man.
And I would say today it's $1.5 million.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that shows you what time in a great area can mean to you.
Right. Location.
Yes. And I just fell in love with Carlsbad. I drove through this town. I was on the coastal highway, and it just called to me. And within a day, I bought a house.
Wow.
Yeah.
You were hooked.
I saw an opportunity. I looked at that ocean, and I just couldn't believe that it was the end of the continental United States, and that's where my house would be.
Oh, how amazing.
It was a half a duplex.
Yeah.
Had a little rental unit with it, but
I'm guessing back then the $47,000 might have been a good,
a decent price
and a stretch, but
yep.
You wisely made that investment.
Gave me a start. You bet.
And so you guys, your firm, which is a family firm
business,
and
yes,
continues to operate as a family business, you have been very successful in serving the North County area, and probably even beyond just North County, all of San Diego County. So talk about the team that's there right now.
Well, the team right now is Tyson Lund, who is the broker of record. Jeff Pashby, that I met, he was like 15 years old, and he was a student at Carlsbad High. And he came in with a whole portfolio of information and a spreadsheet, and I thought, how old is this kid? And he is a managing partner of the company now, and so we've got he and Tyson and Garrett Lund. He has moved to Tennessee and a year ago, but still is well informed in the business of real estate and so on. And we've got a couple people that are helpers and agents in the real estate of the Lund team. And we have, it's been a wonderful trek for for 40 years.
Oh, that's great. So helping people buy, sell, invest, all the above.
Yes. Yeah.
Wonderful. And one of the things that you guys have, one of the things that's been very prominent for you and Sandy and your firm, but let's talk about you and Sandy, is your priority on community service and giving.
Critical.
Yeah, and giving back. You guys were voted Citizen of the Year in 2007. Congratulations.
Right. That was nice.
Talk about why it's critical, and then we're going to get into some specifics.
Well, I've given like 3 commencement speeches in my life, and I always entitled it, Be Somebody. I believe that we're brought on earth to do something more than just live life. So it's always been a mantra of mine to do a little more, to care about the community, care about your fellow people. Probably most significant thing that I believe in is kindness.
Yes.
I don't know of anything that you can do better in life than just simply be kind. And I see it right on there. Your kindness logo is right on the door.
Yes.
And I think that's one of what drives me. I look at it all the time. Sandy is a very kind person. We go out in the community and we talk, and it's a very simple thing to do, but it affects people in a really, really positive way.
That's wonderful. And yes, we are going to circle back to that topic of kindness here during our discussion today for sure, because you've started some really neat initiatives around that, and we'll share how we've picked up some of those initiatives on our own, as you've already alluded to a little bit. I want to highlight a few specific things that you chose to engage and spend your time in, because time is a huge resource that we can give back to our community. You were involved in the Chamber of Commerce and our board of directors for a number of years. You were a founding member of the Carlsbad Charitable Foundation, and still you and Sandy are active on that board. You've been involved on the Education Foundation, and I probably missed some other boards, but talk about donating your time.
Time is something I have now. I'm not as active in real estate, although we talk it all the time and so on. But I just believe that going out, enjoying things that you do, try to do something that can better a community and make me joyful, what I get up each morning to think about doing.
Yeah, very nice. We've had the Charitable Foundation as a guest on this podcast, and of course, and hopefully some of those listening already know what a great impact they have in Carlsbad. The aggregate total donations that they've pumped back into Carlsbad's well over $1 million now.
It is. It is unbelievable.
Fantastic. So thank you for being a founding member of that. And the Carlsbad Educational Foundation puts over $1 million a year into the schools here in Carlsbad. Huge positive impact.
Yeah.
And then the Chamber, and that's what we're partially here to talk about, our 100 years of existence and impact. And so I want to go through a few of the things that you personally were involved in with the Chamber, because I know your passion and things. Tell us the whole background story of Legoland coming to Carlsbad.
So, as soon as I got a little glimpse that might be a possibility, I sent a letter to Billund, Denmark. My dad's name was Bill Lund, and I just thought that was ironic.
Yeah.
And I really, really got passionate about it from day one. And I campaigned along the promenade. I rollerbladed an awful lot in my earlier years, and I campaigned Yes on Lego. And I couldn't believe anyone was against Legoland. But I found someone. I saw someone at a coffee shop in Carlsbad, and they were writing that Legoland would cause prostitution and.
Oh my! Oh.
And I actually spent a little time to tell them that I believe that they were slightly misinformed in the interpretation of what Legoland meant. It is. I still think it's just comical that anyone would even have a thought that way. And with the opening of Legoland on March 19th, 1999, I was deeply involved. My dad walked through the gates with the owner of all Legoland. And he was speaking Norwegian, and the gentleman was speaking Danish. And my mother was there, too. She was interviewed by USA Today, and she did not tell an accurate age of herself. She was off by 10 years. And walking through the door and having 25 kids that had cancer as my guest, and spending that day with them was one of my most remarkable days that I ever had in my life. To just spend, I remember little Johnny, a African-American little guy, that he was sad, and I said, do not be sad. This is going to be the greatest single day of your life, and it ended up being that way. So that was a really, really special thing.
That's great. And for those that don't know, in the early 1990s, as Lego was looking, it was a competitive deal.
1,000 sites in North America they were looking at.
Wow. And then it came down, I don't know how they vetted from 1,000, but it came down to two. Carlsbad and the East Coast site.
That's right.
And I know Elaine Littleton was very involved.
Deeply involved. She was the chair of the chamber.
Yep, she was the chair of the board, and she really took this ball, and I know you were part of that. And I believe, were you even part of the delegation that ended up going over there?
I didn't go to that delegation, but as soon as they got there, John Jacobson and everyone, we engaged quite immediately and got involved.
Oh, that's great. And as you pointed out, Legoland opened in 1999. Now, I've done a little unofficial study, so this isn't like, this isn't like I hired some firm to go do all this data analysis, but, you can do a lot with spreadsheets these days, and so with my own little unofficial analysis, since Legoland opened in 1999, if you draw I'd say about a 7-mile radius circle around Legoland, there's been 1.5 hotels per year that have opened. And, of course, the bulk of those right here in Carlsbad. A few, you have some in Oceanside, Vista, Encinitas. But most of those, because we're up to 46 hotels now in Carlsbad.
Wow.
5,000 beds. And the bulk of that has been since Legoland opened in 99. They, of course, themselves have 2 hotels with a third planned. But it's not just their own. It's
absolutely
all over this community. And as you know, Carlsbad is now the second, generates the second highest tourism dollars in the county. Only San Diego generates more tourism revenue than Carlsbad does.
I felt it.
It's amazing.
That it would be a very, very important aspect. And when it came about, things were slow. It was a grudging economy.
Yeah.
And I just thought, oh my gosh. And then I thought about the jobs. And opening day, I met a 16-year-old that was at the concession stand, and at the ticket entry was an 83-year-old man. And I thought, what a blessing.
Wow, yeah.
What an incredible thing to have that age dichotomy and at the same time employ people over all these years. That was the one thing that I really got some passion about. I just thought about jobs locally.
Yeah. Yeah, and to your point, all 4 of my sons have worked there at some point.
Bless you.
For
so
different,
great.
Yeah. A couple of them did, a summer season, and then one of my sons ended up working there about 3 years. So,
wow.
Yeah, it's a fantastic workforce development tool here in our community for so many young people. So that's a great point. So we are actually going to take a quick break. We're going to take a pause. And when we come back, we're going to switch topics and start talking about the Carlsbad sign. Stay with us. We're talking to Carlton Lund from the Lund team. We'll be right back. So, Carlton, we were just sharing about the amazing impact of Legoland and how engaged the chamber was in helping, lead a delegation to bring that to reality, and you were a part of that. But you also found another passion project here in Carlsbad. I think, if I know correctly, and please correct if I'm off, but around the year 2000, you got really inspired by one of our neighboring communities. You want to tell us that story?
The Encinitas sign. Oh my gosh, when that was lit, I just thought immediately we have to have a Carlsbad sign. It is so mandatory. I just was as driven as could be. And that's when it started, as soon as I saw that sign lit up in Encinitas.
And we had a sign back in the 1930s, and I don't really know the full story of what particular development might have necessitated it coming down, but it had been here, and then it was gone, and it was gone for a long time.
Yeah. It was built in 1938.
Okay.
And no one really knows when it came down, but it was very close. It was within about 40 feet of the current sign.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So you got inspired by the Encinitas sign, and you took up the mantle. It took a while,
It did.
but you were persistent.
Oh my gosh! I think it's the Norwegian in me. I think I'm just not the brightest guy in the book, but
that perseverance.
Perseverance is something that I've got, something I've learned.
And it was round about the time that you were chairing our board in
correct.
2013, 2014.
Yep.
That you brought the project to full fruition.
It did.
And one of our big corporate members stepped up. Talk about who they are. The golf TaylorMade?
Oh, TaylorMade Golf. My goodness. So I had sold a couple different houses to Mark King, who was the CEO of TaylorMade Golf. And so my approach was pretty simple. I said, Mark, what kind of volume did you have this year? He said, well, it was about $2 billion in sales. And I said, I was wondering, do you think you could afford a quarter an hour for 110 years?
I'd have to really scratch my head at that math, but
and that is $225,000. That's what the math equates to. But I broke it down pretty simply, and that really intrigued him. And he said, "Call me back tomorrow at 10, and I'll give you an answer." I called him back the next day at 10, and he said, "We'll do it."
Wow!
And that was a blessing. Because trying to get $25 donations to get to $225,000, I'd be about 263 years old. Doing that, so that worked out well.
And so I have two conflicting dates, but I know you're the guy who's going to clear this up. I couldn't figure out, was it December of 2014 or January of 2015 when it was lit up?
It was pre-lit on December 29th, just to test it. But the official dedication was January 8th.
Okay.
Yeah.
No wonder I'm confused.
2015. No, it actually was lit. We saw that it lit, and it was exciting. You can imagine 83 feet long to bring it in. It weighed 21,000 pounds.
Wow.
And it was a big thing coming to town, but when that finally got anchored and it got lit, it was a joyful day to an awful lot of people.
Well, and it continues because it's, as you could see as a visionary guy, it's a signature shot of being in Carlsbad. So now every tourist who comes to visit takes a picture of it, takes a picture of themselves with it in the background, et cetera, et cetera.
I can come down in the car and I will see people almost always with a camera. I've seen people get married under the sign.
Oh, wow.
I've seen people dancing. I've seen joy. And absolutely pleases me to no end to see how vital it is to this city. It's the name of our city.
Yeah, no, and it's fantastic. And I know, so 2015, January 2015, it officially lights up, and I know other communities since then have, followed,
Love it.
that.
Escondido?
Yep.
Escondido came as a direct result of that.
Yep.
And that's a lovely sign. I was there for that sign lighting and
others, which is great. You've been involved in a few other things that have had a very positive impact. Maybe this one's maybe not so glamorous and it's more behind the scenes, but you were also really involved in the push for the desal plant.
Absolutely.
Talk about that project.
Well, the one thing we have to export all the time is water. And when it first came to light, as soon as I saw it, I thought, oh, my gosh, this is just incredibly important to have a water source.
Right.
And it was turned down in Huntington Beach for some reason. God only knows why, because it is an important source, and you got the most unlimited resource in the world, the ocean, right there.
Right at our doorstep.
Take the salt out and put the water back in the ocean, and absolutely, I just saw that, and I definitely campaigned hard for that.
Yeah. And it was a lengthy process.
It was.
It's kind of, as you're pointing out, it feels like it should be a no-brainer, but nothing, I don't know why, but nothing seems to be a no-brainer these days. And took quite a while, but it got through. And now, and it's been open, of course, now for a while, but 50 million gallons a day comes into our drinking water supply locally because of it.
Critically important.
Yeah. We hear a lot about droughts, and of course, you and I are sitting here after kind of a record-breaking winter year, which is fantastic and so necessary. But we know the next drought's not far away, and having these kind of sources, our own sustainable sources of water that don't rely on the Colorado River or things like that, are critical. So that's an amazing asset we have right here in our community. I want to circle back to the topic that you kind of kicked us off with, though, which is kindness.
Yes.
And for you, it's not just, a catchphrase. For you, it's not just, something cool to put on a bumper sticker. You actually took some extra steps and established kindness meters. I would love for you to share about that.
Well, I just had this idea. I thought, what better way to promote kindness than to have meters and just see what the results might be? I just thought, I was optimistic. I'm an optimistic guy. So
sure.
I said, I just think that people would participate in it. And
how many meters did you set up?
Well, we put 6 around town.
Okay.
And there's still a couple meters at Big John's
sure.
Tip Top Meat. And they were definitely by the corner, by the sign.
Okay.
We had a couple of people that had disregard for the signs and knocked them down and tried to take out of it. It was totally against all thoughts of kindness as far as I could understand. But the concept was good, and I just love the feeling of driving. I drive the coast almost every day. I just feel that it's just the neatest place to drive, but to see people putting money in those meters was always a really good feeling, and I'm glad I did it. I think it's a great concept. Kindness will never be out of the way in my mind, and
it's always in vogue. It's never a bad time for kindness.
Never. I love that statement.
And
that is exactly right.
We at the Chamber have continued to take up your mantle of promoting kindness, as you know, and we have partnered with our good friends at Kids for Peace for a whole corporate kindness initiative, which I'm proud that we initiated. They approached us. I have to give them the credit. They approached us and said, we want to take our success with the Great Kindness Challenge that they have that's in schools and try to port it over to corporate America. And we were like, yes, absolutely. And So I think we're up to something like 85, maybe more, maybe 90 plus companies here in Carlsbad that have taken the pledge and become kindness certified. But what's even more exciting is we're up to 27 chambers that have taken on this initiative.
Wow.
And so now it's got a chance to really expand, because if we can start to get, multiple hundreds of companies in all of those communities, that's something.
That's how it spreads.
Yeah, that's something really exciting.
Fabulous to know.
Yeah, so we're really excited about that. But I again hearken back to you and taking a leadership role in kindness in this community, and so appreciative of that. And yeah, here we continue it on.
We sure do.
I want to let our folks know, this being our 100th anniversary and this being our 100th episode of our podcast, we are gearing up for a gala. We're going to have a centennial gala on Friday, October 13th at the Westin. So right now would be a perfect time for our listening audience to go to the Chamber's website, carlsbad.org, and purchase tickets or tables or both, all the above. But I want to give a quick shout out, because you and your lovely wife will be one of our honorary chair folks for our gala.
Oh, that's very nice to hear.
And we're very blessed that you accepted and will be there and be part of it. So this gala, of course, is meant not only to celebrate 100 years of impact of the Chamber, but also to raise some money so we can continue and grow our impact, and along some of these wonderful lines that, we've been talking about today with, positive economic impact like you and Legoland,
Yep.
and positive community impact like the desal plant, and kindness. So I've, in full disclosure, I've only had the chance to be part of this amazing community and chamber for 5 years, but I'm looking forward to continuing leading all this great stuff that you've been a part of and others have been a part of for many years, and into the future.
I'm so proud of how you've embraced those important concepts. Thank you so much for you absolutely not just looking at it casually, but embedding it in your mantra as a chamber.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And I was fortunate enough to know you before I ever got to Carlsbad, and knew what a fantastic leader you were. So it was one of the things that drew me here when the opportunity arose. So I appreciate you.
I absolutely campaigned heavily for your posturing in this position.
Well, thank you for that, because it's definitely been a blessing to me. And look forward to many, many more years, both of the Lund team continuing to do great work in this community, and you and Sandy, and all of it.
Thank you so much. What a great, great interview. We appreciate it so much. And God bless America, and God bless Carlsbad.
Amen. Thanks for joining us on our Carlsbad People, Purpose, and Impact podcast today. If you enjoyed it, please hit the follow button on wherever you get your audio. And please tell a friend. We would love to hear your feedback, which you can share at carlsbadpodcast.com. You can leave us a review, ask a question, or leave an audio comment, which we can play on the show in the future. And that's all we have for today. Can't wait to see you next time on Carlsbad People, Purpose, and Impact. And remember, share some kindness today. It's free, creates goodwill, and makes you feel great.